I promise I will go to bed right after I make this video. Hi guys, this is Connie, and ooh, is that? No, okay. For a minute I thought my hair went out to there. So, a lot of things happened today, and I'm trying to remember everything in the order that of which it happened. Basically, for the most of it, I do remember, at least for the beginning part of it, I pretty much just acted like a petulant child. And I say that after an incident at the post office, but I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Still didn't hear anything about the car today, so hopefully I'll be calling somebody and maybe the part will have arrived and they can fix my car so we can have it for the weekend, because it's getting... I'm starting to forget, and I can't come up with more adjectives to describe how annoyingly frustrating it is to not have my car. And again, I know it's a very insignificant problem compared to all the other things that can be happening that we could be struggling with. But I definitely think I've grown accustomed to cursing Mustachio's car when I have to deal with it, which is fine. Like, I don't try to dwell on it much, but I'll get the grumbles. I'll take it out on the car because I'm trying to get Baby Bear out of the back seat. The stupid car. But it's been working out pretty well. I think I've now figured out a system for transporting the baby, driving around when I need to drive around. So there's definitely a freedom in that. I don't feel like I'm under house arrest because I don't have a vehicle. But I miss having a car that I am familiar with. I miss having 4 doors instead of 2. I could keep lamenting about this, but that whole scenario is in the back of my head while continuing it to go through the day. So, dropped Mustachio off at work. Probably did a little bit of Pokemon going because I keep running out of gear because I keep playing the game. Because you gotta catch them all, especially before the double Stardust disappear. Because I've been using a lot of it to power up a random Pokemon that I want to see get bigger and badder, even if I don't use them. So it's just a silly thing that I've been doing recently. Went to a Pokemon raid. I think I probably actually, as of right now, because I don't remember what day it is anymore. It's Thursday night. I'm assuming that means it's November 30th, which means tomorrow's December. Wow. Really? Friday? Sunday? I think I'm getting my days mixed up again. I know today's the 30th. I need to look at a calendar. I stopped looking at a calendar because I would get more and more frustrated at the fact that it's one more day without my car. Yes, I can't let it go. Baby Bear will be 7 months next week. She's getting so strong. And that's the other side. That's the side conversation that constantly happens because obviously she's cute and I take her with me everywhere. And so there are a lot of people that stop and start conversations and, oh, what a beautiful baby. How old is he? Thank you for, and that's why, like, if you ever see me out with her, I'll be like, smile at baby girl, smile, baby girl, and nobody pays attention to this. I think a lot of people are very unobservant. I know I miss a lot of things when it comes to being unobservant to certain parts of life. I find it interesting now that we're doing, like, church devotions in the mornings. Some things that I am very hyper urgently aware of, which I probably should rant about at some point, because yesterday was, I don't think I actually went into it very much, but sometime earlier in the week, I've started to receive a lot more Facebook friend requests, and so I do the, how do I know you? Who are our mutual friends? And is this kosher? And sure enough, as soon as I accepted a request, I immediately get chat conversations, and I'm starting to pick up on cues because I was in chat rooms when I was a kid, and I see a certain pattern and familiarity to it that I'm like, this is only going to go one of two places. It can either go where I think it's going to go, which in my mind, in some cases, very naive. I'm willing to make friends with anybody as best as I can, but as soon as I see some trouble, part of me goes, I know well enough to just back away and get out of the danger zone. And this girl had definitely stepped into the danger zone to the point where I was like, yeah, no, I don't know what are you playing at? Like she asked me a lot of, like, I don't mind answering basic personal questions that anybody would ask just to get to know somebody. But the more and more of it was like, oh, do you want a video chat? Let's video chat alone. Let's video chat when you're alone. I'm like, no, I am not alone. I am with my infant daughter, and I am married, and I have no interest in going down that road, which almost makes me, I've had that lint. Ew. You can't see it there. You can almost see it. It's like I chewed on my crocheted blanket at some point. Anyway. Probably mimicking the baby. It's getting sidetracked. I feel like that's I feel like that adds to another part of this topic of conversation where I want to talk about how temptation, and I want to be broad about it because I'm uncomfortable, as most people would be. It's uncomfortable to know that you admit that you struggle with certain issues in your life, and it's embarrassing because you don't want to deal with those issues. You want to be better than your issues. You want to be seen as a decent person. You want to be seen as a good person. And the world's not perfect. We're all twisted and warped and selfish. And it's what changes is going beyond yourself and your willpower and trusting in the Almighty. What some people would generically say is trusting in a higher power greater than yourself so that you can lean on that strength, that supernaturally, instead of leaning just on your own understanding, because eventually your own understanding will fail and falter. And then sometimes we give into temptation. Fill in the blank, whatever your temptation is. But there are a lot of things. There's a handful of things that I know that I've gotten really hypersensitive about in various aspects of my life, which has been an interesting observance. Because I want to believe I'm a lot tougher than what I really am, and I know I'm not. I'm highly sensitive to certain things, and so those things will either make me cry. Oh, Mustachio had told me that he has tomorrow off, which is glorious. But I thought, it's just like there have been various parts throughout the day where I finally just kind of got to, essentially, I guess, my wit's end. And I was just like, can you come home? Can you help me? I can't do this by myself. And we had a week's worth of people constantly helping, constantly watching the baby. And so it was definitely daunting to shift back into gears going, if I don't do it during the day, nobody's going to get it done unless I specifically ask for reinforcements. So that was fun. But as soon as he was like, you do know that I have tomorrow off, right? I have never sobbed for joy No, I take that back. I sobbed for joy. I can think of 2 other times in my entire life when it comes to him. It was when he told me that he loved me, and when we got married. I cried. Well, and when we got married, I cried little tears throughout the whole thing. I was so happy. But when he told me that he loved me for the first time, I sobbed into my hands, like snot everywhere. I was just like, I am a horrible mess, and this man's just told me that he loves me and he cares for me and he wants God's best for my life. Oh gosh, that was a wonderful memory. But today I sobbed like I couldn't catch my breath. I was so excited to know that he would be home and that he'd be able to have some quality time with his kid, and I could take a break and not feel bad about driving off without her, because that doesn't happen during the day unless you get a babysitter. Babysitters can be expensive, and I don't want to wear out my family. I love my family. They love me and they love the baby, but I don't want to take too much advantage of that because it can get a little old and they can start feeling the way I feel. We went all the way down this road sobbing because I'm I sob for joy because I'm hypersensitive to certain things, and including various ways that I see the potential for temptation. And this, for lack of a better term, this lady in the chat room was essentially a temptation, but it was something that I was able to pick up on very quickly, and I shut it down immediately because I have how do I say this without the beauty of being married. And it was totally worth the wait because yes, I did wait until I was married to have sex. I stayed a virgin. I made that decision when I was 13 years old. I said, you know what? I want to wait. I don't see the point in getting myself all caught up in things and getting complicated with other things, and even just exposing myself to potential disease and unplanned pregnancy. I was just like, I don't want to deal with any of that. So even if it wasn't just a religious situation or decision, it was just a morally good situation. Being broad, because I know not everybody believes the same way I believe. But, yeah, there were various reasons why I made that decision. And, so worth the wait, because Mustachio likes to keep private things private, and so I will do so. But he is pretty fantastic, and we have a pretty wonderful life in various ways, and you can... we'll just leave it at that. But, so, and in trying to honor that, one of the things that I do, other than him being my standard, he is my standard. He's my handsome standard. He's been that since we started dating. I was like, he gave me the green light to fall in love with him. And so I didn't have to have eyes for anyone else. I didn't have to wander or look or even consider anything else because all I needed to have was him. And that just makes life so much simpler. And there are definitely different struggles. There's definitely temptation. But I also know that because I've set up certain standards, those temptations kind of pass fairly quickly to the wayside. I think it's definitely a bit of conditioning for myself. It's not to say that I've not found, we have eyes. We are visual people. I'm definitely more prone to the visualization that most guys, well, he's just a guy. Guys, they see things and, guys are visual. I do have a form of that visualness, but at the same time, so I can understand it too a bit, but at the same time, my heart hurt like a girl when I was like, why did you even acknowledge that other blah, 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 blah. Just running off on a side tangent. But it is normal to appreciate beauty regardless of where it is. However, with the conditioning that I've allowed myself to have, even if I see something or someone that is aesthetically pleasing, I have made a commitment and essentially a covenant and lifetime promises to that man that he is my one and only. And he is pretty fantastic. So even if my mind wanted to be deceived, and there definitely have been temptations, and there definitely have been moments, and there definitely have been like dreams and visions that you could essentially say is from the enemy, that try to distract me, that try to, get me to not look at my husband the way a wife should look at her husband. I choose to love that man with everything I have, and I'm still working on the respect thing because unconditional respect is not my native language. It's so frustrating because there's certain things that just come so naturally, like bickering and complaining and nagging, and I do it because I love you, but it shows you disrespect, and I don't mean it to. Whole nother subject for a whole nother time. But yeah, I choose to see him as my standard, and it's not a bad standard. I am not complaining. He is not complaining. It works. And so I've been very thankful for that. I think that helps. It kind of waterproof, fireproof. All I can think of is like when you have a standard like that, you're almost like spraying waterproof spray. It's like Scotch Guard on a garment or something so that it can be waterproof. It just kind of slides off, even though when it obviously rains and pours, you know that you're good to go. But it doesn't mean you don't potentially get wet and people fall and people stumble and people mess up. But I do my best not to get to that point, and when I do, even just a little, it's called get yourself back up, shake the dust off you, and don't stay there forever. Find accountability if you need it. Find safeguards for yourself if you know that you need extra safeguards, which is why as soon as this whole situation with this girl in the chat room happened, I immediately put it on blast on my Facebook. I was just like, yo, if this girl reaches out to you, know that that's not something kosher. No, just don't. Just run. And there are scriptures that say that too, that I've completely lost. Oh, there's one that's like, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. And a part of me thinks to myself, well, if he doesn't flee, then I need to flee. It says, run from sexual immorality, flee, scurry, get away. I was not in a place to entertain it, so be gone. Which a part of me goes, yay, I passed that part of my level of maturity. And then I proceeded to be like a petulant child at the post office. I was going to send a couple packages, and I was trying to use there is an option where you can send books in the mail and get just a book rate for sending books in the mail, because those suckers are heavy, but they still want you to send it in the mail. So if you send it in the mail and say, I need a book rate, it's a lot cheaper. And because I had more than just the books in there, they wanted to just charge me regular rates, and I'm not cool with that. It was like $7 for 2 items? I don't think so. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I decided to throw the package on the desk right next to me, like, well, then I'm not sending this out. And the postal worker that was handling that desk and was talking with me through our transaction acknowledged that I did that. She's like, why are you angry at me? And I was like, I'm not angry at you. I am frustrated at this entire situation right now. In my head, I'm thinking, because I wanted to send a package, and you're telling me it's going to cost almost $10 to send this package. I don't want to spend $10 on a package. Unless it's a significant package, like something that's actually worth sending in the mail, that's like over $10 worth of, and it just, like, she felt the need to like push at that. And I'm just like, I'm not, I've done my piece. I've thrown my package aside, and I feel better about that. I'm not paying you for that package, so I will take that package home and do whatever with it I want to do, including tossing it on the table right now, which is what I did. And it just ruffled my feathers, and I felt really petulant and childish about it. And I've noticed that in some places where I react that I'm like, ugh, why am I behaving like I'm a child? I'm the adult. I'm watching my child grow up. I'm parenting my child. I'm not supposed to be acting like my child. So that was a thing. Got Mustachio lunch. Had to vacuum out the car because I gave my baby a portion of my lunch, which was a chicken tender. She got it all over the back seat. We went to Walmart to do a little bit of grocery shopping. Took my sweet time working through that. Came home. Had to put the baby down someplace where I knew she wasn't going to roll away or crawl away or climb up on something, because she's starting to do all of that stuff very, very slowly, but effectively enough that I can't really turn my back on her for more than 5 seconds without wondering what she's doing. So I put her in the bouncer, got the groceries in, got them all put away, and got hungry. I think I made mashed potatoes. It was the first time in a long time I've been able to actually cook something stovetop and not, I think I had to walk away from it for maybe 15 minutes, but at that point everything was already cooked. So I didn't even have to keep the stove on for that. We did all that. Watched some TV, picked up Mustachio, did my check-ins. We've come home, we got to hang out for a little bit, and here we are now, 22 minutes later. Oh, so I'm still a little surprised that people watch this long enough to feel like this is something they enjoy. I'm very, I don't want to play the games with you guys unless it's something that you guys would want to play, where it's like, if you made it to this part of the video, type bananas in the comments or something, which seems ridiculous, but it lets me know that you actually got 22 minutes. I can see a little timer right up here. It tells me that it's been almost 23 minutes since I started this video. I didn't think I had that much to talk about, but apparently I was wrong. And I have to pick up one of my other books for Connie reads, because I finished all the books that essentially needed to be done right now without having to go back to the library. I think I've got I've got at least 3 books at home here before I have to go to the library and pick up new ones. But the new ones would be a lot more interesting, and I know more people would want to listen to them. So be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. And along with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for commenting. I'm starting to see these comments in my emails, and I get them. I read them. I'm sorry I don't respond to all of them, because usually there's a baby getting ready to wake up whenever I check my emails. So that could be a thing. But yeah, I think eventually I'm going to have to start either engaging more in the comments or starting to pimp out my social media so that you guys can interact with me in those capacities, because I start to check a bunch of them when I'm at home with her. So that's a thing. 25 minutes, oh my goodness. Good night.